Hello everybody, so today I'm going to be working on actually lowering the action on one of my oldest guitars, this here Epiphone Les Paul. I've had this, once again, this is just about my oldest electric guitar. I got it for Valentine's Day sophomore year, if you want a little background on it. And since then I've gone around with it and I have just destroyed it, just about. I broke the nut a while back, I messed with the input jack, I've dropped it a couple times so it's got a couple scars on it. Luckily a friend of mine actually helped fix it up a little better, so the input jack is fixed. The like scratches and scars have been sanded down to be a little more friendly to my arm, and it still sounds pretty good. However, the action on it is a little high for me. I don't know if you can tell, but the strings are decently off of the fretboard, which would be good if you're playing something like slide guitar, but I don't play a lot of slide. I do stuff more not slide. But it still sounds good. Still works, still makes sound. For example. But I just don't like the action on it right now. So we're going to be using a couple tools here. We're going to be using this measuring device to help me figure out exactly where it is, how much I'm going to lower it. We are going to use this razor to help me get out the nuts. We are going to use this winding thing to help me actually get the to help me actually get the strings loose enough to move. And we're going to be using a drill. We're probably not using the drill, but I just like drills. So if you give me a couple minutes here, I'm going to get set up so I could start taking off this device, this guitar nut, for the fun of it. And we'll get right back to work. Alright, so now I'm going to unwind all of the strings and push them off to the side of the nut, just so I can remove the nut. Let's see how this goes. I do want to let everybody know I have never done this before. I have no idea what I am doing. But I've watched videos, and it didn't seem like it'd be impossible to do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Whoops. I guess I'll need a new string for this one. Oh well. Next, I'm going to take the razor and see if I could scrape out the edges as carefully as I can. And hopefully I'll be able to just get this off. Oh, that actually went off pretty easily. Well, let's hope it's as easy to put it back. But here we go. Now, I already have a guitar that I enjoy using, so I am going to measure what my action is on it real quick and begin filing this nut down to match the action. Give me a couple seconds. Alright, so from a quick measuring with my trusty tool, I found that the nut height on this is actually decently high, like I suspected. So if we hold it right up, it hits about that 3.7. while my guitar right over here is at about 1.25. So we're going to take the time and carefully sand it down. You want to go as evenly as possible. If you have a crooked nut, you're not going to be happy. And then just sand carefully and check every couple of times you go, every couple of rounds. Because you don't want to over sand, you don't want to under sand. You want to get it as perfectly as you can. Now, fun fact about guitar action. Typically when you play, you're going to want to have the action as straight as possible. And what that comes down to is making sure your guitar nut is at the appropriate height, while your guitar bridge is at a matching height, or lower or higher, depending on how you actually tend to play. A different play style will have a different effect. I'm going to fast forward to more sanding, and then I'll show you guys what I'm doing to put it back on. Be back in a second. But just know I'm doing this, and I'm going to keep doing this for a while until I get to the height I like. In this case, what it typically suggests is something like, well, for an electric guitar on the 6th string, you want it to be about 1.5, but between 1.5 and 2 millimeters at the 12th fret. And I will be back. Alright, hello again. So I have spent a decent amount of time sanding down this little guitar nut. Basically, I got it to a point where I believe it will give me the best action. Now, once again, with the tool I have, I seem to have misplaced it, but it's around somewhere. I was able to measure about what I believe was the best action for the nut of this guitar. From there, I had to go and actually adjust the bridge of this guitar. Once again, this is for Les Paul models of guitars. This is actually an Epiphone Les Paul. I can't see it too well. There we go. Yeah. Well, after we take the time, adjust it, get it settled, we are going to glue it back into this spot here. I'm going to do this with a small amount of Gorilla Super Glue. Now just tiny drops here and here. We don't want to put a crazy amount. It's not crazy glue. Next, we're going to take our nut and place it just right up against the back here, as clean and neat as we can. Now, the reason we left the strings on was so that it would actually assist in holding the nut into place. Oh, well, you can't see anything apparently. Let's try this. So I'm just holding the nut in place with my finger. Kind of wish there was a better word for it, but I am going to put the strings back one at a time slowly. And then just tighten it until it's close to being in tune. Now, if you look close already, you can see that the action's already significantly lower than it was earlier. I can tell you it already feels better. I'm going to spend some time tuning it, but basically that is how you would lower the action. Once again, for the bridge portion, you could see that there's actually little screws right here, and this is for an adjust-o-matic bridge. Your ultimate goal is to get your strings lined up as clean and neat as possible, so that when you press your frets down, it stays even no matter what spot it's at. That way you'll make sure you are in tune. It's called being, intonated. That's the actual word I mean. Anyway, that's it for today's project. Hopefully I'll be playing this guitar. I'm going to spend some time actually tuning it up. I'll try to use it in a video soon just so you know, hey, it worked. Or, worst case scenario, it won't work, in which case I have spent quite a bit of time filing this down. Either way, have a good day, everybody. Hope to see you again. Be sure to subscribe and leave me any suggestions if you want me to try to do anything. I'm not a professional. I honestly don't know much about what I'm doing most of the time. I never took lessons for most of this stuff, and I kind of just watch. Hope it goes well. Bye-bye.